to another episode of The Wealthy Boss Show. I'm your host, Mariah Seacrest Comer. Today we are dishing, no pun intended, about the holidays. So if you're listening to this live or shortly after it's released on the podcast version, you know that we are heading into Thanksgiving, soon to be followed by Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year's and all that good stuff. And I have an extra holiday that I get to throw in there because my husband and I will be celebrating our 7th wedding anniversary in December as well. So I actually had someone come in today to the Pilates studio and say, guess what? It's the season for eating. And wouldn't you know it, at the same time, she was also coming in to downgrade her membership because she knew she would not be coming in as frequently as normal. So we all know that that's not a great combo, but that's also very typical during the holidays to kind of lose sight of, or maybe just have a difficult time maintaining those healthy intentions that we set, only to maybe feel a tiny bit of remorse or maybe a lot of remorse come time for January 1st and those New Year's goals. Well, I wanted to jump in here and provide some insight as well as some tips for making sure that you are enjoying the holidays, because we absolutely want you to enjoy the holidays without feeling any type of regret or setting yourself back. See, my ultimate goal for you is to not have to do the whole New Year's resolution thing, at least not when it comes to your personal habits, because I'd rather you be maintaining them all year long. So the choices that you make throughout this holiday season can really help lead up to that. All right, so the most important thing before I dive into the tips that I want to share with you and kind of the healthier picks and maneuvering around family gatherings is I want to set the stage for having the right mindset when we go into the holidays. Now, the holidays, we feel like we deserve to celebrate. We deserve to indulge. And I'm actually here to tell you that's true. I'm not going to make you feel guilty for celebrating special times with special foods and special, things that feel like they're out of the ordinary. That's why they should be out of the ordinary, right? But when you have 6 weeks of out of the ordinary, all of a sudden that can actually start to turn into an ordinary that is not the type of ordinary that you want. So I want you to prioritize happiness. And honestly, that's what all this is about. Any type of discipline really is about creating maximum pleasure. It's true in business. It's true in life. Happiness is actually the end game. It's the end game of the discipline of business, of fitness. And to lose sight of that is when we actually start to get off track, because then we start to come from a place of deprivation and need and feeling like we're having to go without. I don't want you to go without. I want your experiences to be so rich and so full that you feel like you have the best life possible. So it really can be helpful to think of this in terms of, say, your finances. So you might want to think of, especially when it comes to food, equating your calories and the way you spend them or enjoy them, similarly to how you spend or enjoy, say, your money. So we all know that there's probably that nice, healthy balance, that baby bear medium between overspending and oversaving, right? So when it comes to finances, if we spend everything we have, then that's actually going to decrease our happiness because we're going to have new problems that we're dealing with, negative outcomes as a result, and we could actually experience suffering as a result of that because we can't pay our bills, we can't buy the things we need to, we can't fix things that need to be repaired, right? So that's why we end up saving money. Well, on the flip side of that, we've probably all heard stories of those misers who saved every penny they had over decades and died, a billionaire, but they were living in these tiny little shacks, right? Because that's how they earned their savings. So we all know that neither of those extremes when it comes to our finances are really very healthy or are going to lead to happiness. So it's really the same thing when it comes to nutrition and indulging. nutrition even more so than exercise, but they both apply with any type of discipline. Our goal is to enjoy our lives more. And there's going to be what I love to call a sweet spot with all of that. If we spend every last second obsessing with every calorie and, worrying if maybe one day out of 30 days we don't get our workout, then that's not going to make us happy. But if we don't spend any time, filling our body with vegetables or igniting more oxygen in our brain through physical movement, that's not going to leave us at our happiest either. So we are going for happiness, for richness, for abundance. And that's actually the role that any of these disciplines play. And we're going to look at now how to apply that whole concept and that principle in the realm of your fitness and nutrition. So let's start a little bit with, I'm going to actually spend a little bit more time on nutrition than fitness. And that's just because that's what typically tends to mess us up the most during this holiday season, right? Because food is everywhere. And I know you've heard the saying, it's a little bit trite, but I'm just going to say it one more time. It's a holiday, not a holiday season. Now, I'm not advocating that you only indulge on Christmas Day or whatever holiday it is that you celebrate, but you do want to pick and choose so that you're not tipping that scale from your happiness meter, so that you're going to wake up on January 1st and not feel that you are where you want to be. So because of that, you want to prioritize your favorite things when it comes to nutrition. That means you're not going to totally do a free-for-all at every single party, especially if you've got a lot of family commitments and traditions and, maybe if you have a team that lives locally and you celebrate with them. So you do want to pick and choose. You want to set boundaries. You're not giving yourself permission, for the whole 6 weeks of these holidays stacked on top of each other to just go nuts. But what I do encourage you to do is to spend your splurges wisely. So save up for those things that you really love. Too often we eat food just because it's there. The power of suggestion is very strong. So be mindful of how much pleasure a certain type of food actually brings you. So in my Boss Body system, I actually have this process where people rate the things that are important to them. And I pull that into even more so in my custom nutrition inventory that I do. I have them actually rate those things that are bringing the most pleasure or bringing the most nutrition. And ideally we're finding somewhere that we can kind of stack up on both. But if you're really going to go, full bore on something, I want it to be on something you really enjoy, that is worth the calories to you. So I always love asking the question, am I going to be glad I ate this? And it's totally okay if the answer is yes. There are certain things for me that answer is definitely going to be a heck yes. And again, of course, prioritizing how often we are going to splurge in those things as well is going to be of tremendous benefit. So you might even say, if you have 3 parties to go to this week, maybe 2 of the 3, you're actually just gonna stay on track with the rest of your normal nutrition goals, and maybe that 3rd party you're gonna be able to be a little bit more relaxed. Or maybe you're just going to set those boundaries by identifying certain foods and how much of those you're going to allow yourself, and then fill up on the other things that are going to be a little bit more nutritious for you. My next strategy is to, bring a healthy dish. So to make sure that you have something you can eat, be the one to offer to bring that healthy pick. And you can find healthier swaps for the more traditional comfort foods too. If you're hosting, you can make mashed potatoes you can thicken them up with things like coconut milk or Greek yogurt instead of cream and butter. Or you can make hot cocoa with stevia and almond milk and real cocoa powder instead of all that preservative laced processed stuff. And it's very easy to go on Pinterest and I started to say Google, that doesn't even make sense, and Pinterest does it. Just search in Pinterest for, clean eating, blah, 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 whatever you want to make. And if you're, by the way, a member of my Meal Planning Mastery, you actually already have access to our private group Pinterest board completely on Pinterest Pinterest recipes for holiday options. So if you are a Meal Planning Mastery member, make sure and look for that. Let me know if you can't find that group board, because you totally have that in your toolkit as well. And then also, just tell yourself wait instead of no. This is a huge differentiator for me when it comes to indulging. And this can play out a couple of different ways. So when you tell yourself wait, that immediately disarms your body's, the rebellion that wants to kick in as soon as you're depriving yourself when you tell yourself no. But if you tell yourself wait, so whether that means waiting for the party next week where you'll space those indulgences out, or within the actual event itself, if you decide to go first, fill up your plate with vegetables and all the healthy stuff first, and then tell yourself whatever you're still hungry for, whatever you're still craving after that, then you have full reign to do it. Or if you're craving seconds of something, give yourself a good 15 minutes. The body actually takes about 15 minutes to register that it's full after eating. And if you're still obsessed with that thing 15, 20 minutes later, then it's okay to go back for more. But creating that habit of pausing and asking yourself, can I defer this until later? It's actually going to give you much more control and help you be more mindful about what you eat, when you eat, how much you eat. And if you want a deeper resource for this, we actually had a really great conversation in a previous episode of the Wealthy Boss Show, episode number 13 with Mitch Todd, the episode on mindfulness. And Mitch has actually found some very great success with weight loss just by eating a little bit more mindfully. And he also discusses in that episode his advocacy for indulging in the things that you really, really like, and basically being able to differentiate what are worth the calories and what are not. So I'll link to that episode in the show notes as well. It's episode number 13 if you want to check out a little bit more on mindful eating. Okay, I can't finish the conversation about nutrition without diving into the topic of alcohol. I'm not against alcohol. I definitely include, alcohol, but I do it smart, and I'm going to just teach you a couple of tricks, a couple of strategies to make sure that you're doing it smart as well. So obviously we know that drinking too much is not healthy for any aspect of our mental or physical health. So we definitely do want to control the portions. You also very much want to be careful that you are putting something in your stomach first before you drink. Not only for obvious purposes of safety and keeping your alcohol levels at an appropriate level. When you're on an empty stomach, of course, the body can't metabolizes it much faster. But you also want to make sure that you're filling your stomach with food first, because that's going to mitigate the impact of the alcohol within your body. When you drink on an empty stomach, then the health and the fat retention components of that are much more intense. So definitely make sure that you're eating first. But my biggest word of advice, you already know, don't drink too much. That's a no-brainer. But my biggest piece of advice is just be careful about what you drink, because all drinks are not created equal when it comes to their impact on our health and calories and sugar and insulin and anything that could lead to weight gain. So I am a bit of a snob when it comes, I'm not a snob, but I actually am a bit of a purist with alcohol. And I always really like to stick with wine because it's healthier than the other drinks. Yes, it has antioxidants, but it's actually going to be one of the least caloric of the drinks that are out there. Far more beneficial and far less destructive than any of those sugary cocktails that we know and love, especially if you're a girl and you like those girly drinks and frou-frou drinks, or if you're a guy and you like them, we won't judge. Those are the worst for you. So the martinis that are laced with, sugar and chocolate, a chai martini is probably not going to be what's best for your waistline. Sugar and alcohol do not make good partners. They just don't, especially when it comes to your waistline. And of course, the sugary drinks are they go down more easily. So it's easier to drink too fast. It's easier to drink too many of them. So I would really recommend limiting any type of sugared mixers. So if wine is not your thing, wine is the most straightforward. Beers, there's such a range. So there's light beers, but sometimes even the dark in color beers actually could have fewer calories than the light. So there's just a really wide range. So if you don't really want to investigate individually to see how many calories are in a beer, wine is just always pretty straightforward. It's about 120 calories per glass for a true pour, which of course is not always what we get either when the holiday spirits are flowing. If that totally isn't your thing, you can't do wine, then yeah, you can choose smartly. There are some beer choices that are not too heavy, but then you could also just look at straight liquor. I know that sounds intense, but just slow it down there with how quickly you knock it back. You don't want to be doing shots. You can totally sip, you can sip a bourbon, you can sip a whiskey, you can sip a vodka with lime. I just ask that you try to really limit. And of course, everything I say here is going to, rules are meant to be broken. So if you need to have that 1 or 2 spiked eggnogs, I certainly will be, but that's going to be one of those indulgences that I plan for and I save up for. So what you drink matters. I don't care if you drink, but choose smartly. So we've talked a lot about different nutrition strategies and tweaks and things that we can be aware of to just lessen the impact that our choices are going to make on our metabolic load, on our just on our weight and how much energy we have and how good we feel about ourselves throughout the holiday season. But we also want to make sure that our exercise routines are not slipping during this time. Our routines change during the holidays. Obviously, we don't celebrate the holidays all year long. Otherwise, they wouldn't be the holidays. And getting off of our typical schedule is usually what will most often derail us from being consistent with our workouts. So be aware of that. It doesn't need to be the same workout that you do on a normal basis. If you know you're going to be traveling, if you know you're going to be in colder weather, spending time with loved ones, take advantage of that and build that in. Plan a time to catch up with your friends or your family that you're visiting in town over a walk instead of necessarily, sitting around eating and drinking. Even things like going Christmas shopping. I know most people shop online now, I do, but if you're going to be shopping, that can count. Don't discount those things. If you're shopping the malls and walking around, if you're looking to find a Christmas tree, make time for that physical activity though, because you need to be at your best. We don't make smart choices when we're not taking care of our body. And exercising is one of those things that is going to give you one of the biggest returns right away on your mood. It's true. I've even written articles on the research behind relationships and our emotional reactions when we are physically active versus when we're not. And of course, the deck is stacked in our favor when we are being physically active. So I know schedules are going to be off. You're going to be spending possibly a lot of time with loved ones that are great in small doses, but you want to make sure that you have all the patience and the reaction time and that emotional resilience that you're going to need to get you through the holidays. So do prioritize some physical activity. And think ahead. If it's not going to be your normal workout, think ahead to what you could do. And I don't care if it's not as intense as your normal workout. The goal is to keep building that consistency in. And then, yes, when you get back into your January routine, you can up the intensity. You can up the type of activity if you want to be more strategic or smart about the type of activity that you do. But do make time for that physical activity so that you can be on your best mental game. It's super important. And speaking of your mental health, think about your mental and workload during this time. As entrepreneurs, it is so hard to turn work off. And I get it, and I'm not asking you to not run your business during the month of December. You need to do that, of course. And a lot of times this is when, we might get busy as entrepreneurs. We might be doing Black Friday sales. We might be doing, if you have a handmade business, you might be doing your most business during this month because of your Christmas orders and late rush orders that you're tending to. So I totally get that. I'm just going to challenge you to find what you can eliminate. Find those moments of time that you can set aside just for family, for tradition. I can't wait to personally set up my Christmas tree. I've got a couple traditions that we have planned that I'm excited to make time for. And so for me, this actually meant cutting it out. One of the things I had planned, I still have a lot planned, don't get me wrong. I've got several projects that I'm tackling. But for example, I have been planning to do a live launch at the end of November for my Boss Body system. And because I hadn't offered it to my whole community, we've done a couple of affiliate launches, but I hadn't offered it up to my whole community in a long time. So I felt like, oh gosh, I've got to get this in and I've got to get that. But I also have my reset retreat coming up for our virtual self-care retreat in January. And I've got new strategies that I wanted to do, and I want to hire a new team member. So you know what? I knew something had to go, or at least get pared down. So I actually decided to cut what's typically a 10-day launch into just one Black Friday promotion where I'm just opening up Boss Body System for one day. That was hard for me to do because I am not the type of person that likes to take away projects or to scale them down or to pare them down, but I'm glad I did. I actually feel a weight off my shoulders now so that I can leave myself a few days, weekends, times to enjoy some special moments and memories with my family. And again, that comes back to the whole premise that we began with in this episode, and that the disciplines that we have, whether it's business, whether it's fitness, whether it's nutrition, they're all for a purpose, and they're for the purpose of making our lives better. As entrepreneurs, sometimes we can get so caught up and preoccupied and obsessed with the means that we forget what the actual end is. So we want to always keep that end game in mind. So I want you to be able to enjoy the holidays. I want your business and your fitness and nutrition to serve you as opposed to the other way around. And I know it's tough for us as entrepreneurs to sometimes scale back and be able to just enjoy the life that we've created. So I'm taking those steps, baby step, one at a time, just alongside as you are. And I'm more than happy to hear about your journey with that, to hear what choices that you're making that will help lead you to that. I would love to provide you with one last tool before I go that will help you stay sane this holiday season. I would love to invite you to join my 7-day Mindset Mantra Challenge. It is a challenge that will send you every day for 1 week a text message. So it's not through an email, it's right in your phone, right when you need it, right when you're in action, of a specific mantra for the day. Now, it's not just any mantra, it is a mantra specifically crafted for entrepreneurs. These are mantras that I use when I'm getting super stressed out, or I feel a tremendous amount of pressure to do everything or be perfect or to keep going and never just enjoy where I'm at. So all the things we were talking about, these are some of the mantras that I personally use to kind of check myself and slow myself down when I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed or anxious or stressed or too hard on myself. So I would love for you to enjoy these little pockets of mindfulness throughout your hectic, busy season. I know they're going to help you just reconnect with what's important to you, make mindful decisions. So you can take part of that 7-day Mindset Mantra Challenge by going to wealthyboss.com. And again, wealthy is spelled W-E-L-L. So wealthyboss.com/mindset mantras. Or you can text the keyword mindset mantras, which is all one word, no spaces, no punctuation, to the number 33444. So again, visit wealthyboss.com/mindset mantras, or text the keyword mindset mantras to 33444. Other than that, I do have some very cool resources down the road for you for checking in and resetting your health goals, your self-care practices, reconnecting with what's important to you. And that is going to be at my upcoming Reset Retreat. I will have more details out for that very, very soon. But until then, happy holidays. I will catch you next time.